Hey TechKnowStuds! Once we start understanding the risks to a company, we need to understand the depth of each one of those risks. How risky is each one of those risks? And the way we do that is through risk analysis. So in this lesson, let's take a look at what risk analysis looks like. Once we've identified the risks there are to the company, we now have a list of risks. The next step would be to analyze those risks and look for the impact that those risks have. In the end, what we really want to do is have a way to be able to recognize what is our top risk. So in this case right here, we see that risk number 1 is a 10 out of 10 on this whatever scoring system that we're using. Risk 2 is just 5 out of 10. Risk 3 is just 3 out of 10. We have an 8 out of 10, a 2 out of 10, and another 5 out of 10. So we need a way to be able to understand the depth of these risks so we understand which ones we really need to focus on. Risk analysis could take two different forms: quantitative risk analysis or qualitative risk analysis. Let's take a look at the difference between quantitative data and qualitative data from a different context. What we're going to do is, let's say I've just delivered a class and I want to see how effective that class was. So I'm going to ask all the students to fill out a class survey. In this class survey, I have several categories that they're going to rate on how they felt like it was from a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being terrible to 5 being great. And let's say they're going to rate each one of these categories however they feel at how well it went. And then what they'll do is they're going to write in some comments, some data about how they felt and some feedback, maybe something they really liked about the course, maybe something that they thought could be changed about the course. Quantitative data has to deal with numbers. Quantity, quantitative, there's a relationship there, and it has to deal with numbers. At the top here, we have a bunch of numbers, a scale of 1 to 5. So when students rate this from 1 to 5, now we can tally this up. We can actually create a running total. We can see how many students rated it as a 5, how many as a 4, how many as a 3, how many as 2, how many as 1. We can even add it all up, divide by the number of students there are, and come up with a full-on rating. So maybe this is 4.51 is what the course overall was scored at. And so now we have quantitative, a quantity associated with it. We have quantitative data. Quantitative data can help identify areas of the course that may need to be improved. For instance, maybe the activities in the course were rated on average really low. Now what we can do is we can say, well, this activities part of this has been rated really low, we need to focus on it. The problem with quantitative data, though, is it doesn't really tell us what's wrong with it. Did they not like the format of it? Was it hard to read? Was it just activities that didn't really apply to what they were studying? Was it just activities that were really poorly written and there was generated a lot of confusion? So what was wrong with the activities? Well, that's where qualitative data comes into place. When we get qualitative data, and that's what we get down in the comments, now we can understand, oh, well, they didn't like the activities just because they weren't given enough time to complete those activities. So quantitative data lets us know how much or how many, gives us numbers and stats. We can do statistical analysis on it. We can start trend lines and see if we're trending up or trending down. But qualitative data really answers that question, well, why? When it comes to risk, we could perform both qualitative analysis on it or quantitative analysis on it. One way to do quantitative analysis on it is just measure things, the probability, which is a percentage, times the impact, which is a dollar amount. And we can come up with then a end dollar amount that's associated with this risk analysis here. Versus qualitative, we look at likelihood times impact. So likelihood times impact, they're not really dealing with numbers, but we're kind of rating. What we're doing is we're going through a rating process of what is the likelihood that something's going to happen or what is the impact is going to happen. And this could go into our risk register. So in this case right here, we have the likelihood and the impact, where we would put in maybe the likelihood is high, but the impact might be low. And so now we have some information going in here with the likelihood and impact. If it was quantitative, now we have dollar amounts that's associated with these risks. For instance, maybe this right here is a $100,000 risk, or maybe this one right here is a $10,000 risk. And so we'd actually have dollar amounts that are associated with the risk. I will call out this terminology likelihood versus probability. Likelihood would be like something that we're going to rate it where we may have a low, a medium, or a high rating with likelihood, where probability is actual number. Think statistics here, that we assign a probability that something would happen. So that's the difference in this terminology here, but really these terms can be used interchangeably for the most part. I'll also give a brief mention out, although the way risk management defines what qualitative data is, I actually disagree with it. I think it's mislabeled. I'll explain that a little bit more in another lesson on qualitative, but I just wanted to mention it here.